BBC Radio Leeds, Stephanie Hirst show until midday today, Friday 21st of June, the summer solstice. It's the longest day of 2019 for anyone living north of equator, as we say here in Yorkshire. It can be quite a spiritual day for many as well, and every year visitors gather at Stonehenge. In fact, you mentioned that story earlier that a couple are getting married at Glastonbury, and today with 50 loved ones in attendance as well, 135,000 tickets. But yeah, lots of people at Stonehenge as well today to mark the day and see the sunrise above the stones. To tell us more about today as well and what it symbolises, I'm delighted to welcome back to the studio Inbaal, who's a psychic from Huddersfield. You came in, about 6 months ago, something like that, didn't you?
I came in at the start of March, and we talked a bit about tarot cards and divination, and how to tell the future and how different people are able to pick things up, and a bit about star signs. But the flip side of foretelling the future is, in fact, impacting the future. And that's where witchcraft comes in. Everyone run and hide.
Go and dive under the desk. So, summer solstice. Tell us about the day.
The summer solstice is very, very simply when the sun is highest in the sky in its northernmost position. So it creates the longest day of the year and the shortest night of the year. And the longest day of the year back in ancient times was one of the things that were predictable, tangible. You could see it. The whole concept of perhaps gods and goddesses and worshipping divinity was a little bit later, because the sun had always been there. Without the sun, we would have no life. Where if the sun suddenly decided to go away, everything would crumble. So ancient societies that would be reliant on farming for their ends, were reliant on the sun to sustain life, as we still are now. And so when the sun was highest in the sky, it looked like a magical act that the sky would do, where the sun would progress day to day, and then it would seem to be standing still in the sky before it started receding. And that is the word solstice. Sol is the sun. Sistere is the Latin word for standing still. So the solstice is the day that the sun stands still, which happens when it's the highest in June and when it's the lowest at Yule. That's the 21st of December, which is very close to a big celebration that we all get excited about as well.
Do you know, weirdly, on the way to work this morning, I was thinking about Christmas.
Already?
It's June.
Have you got a list?
I've not got a list yet, but I was starting to think about it. It's weird, isn't it, that these things pop into your mind. So how did people originally mark the day?
We've got some clues, because the stone circles, especially Stonehenge is the biggest one, but there's lots of stone circles around the UK. In Avebury, there's quite a few in Scotland. The stone circles are designed in such a way that the sunrise of summer solstice goes right through to drop a shadow of one of the specific stones through some of the other specific stones. And it is actually a very graphic representation of what the solstice is traditionally used for, because we've got the shadow going into like a cavern that is very symbolic of marriages that are considered extremely lucky in the at the summer solstice.
Well, this is why I mentioned this story in Glastonbury, actually. 135,000 tickets were available, but 2 million people went for those 135,000 tickets, and a couple getting married today with 50 loved ones in attendance. So it's very lucky, isn't it, to get married on summer solstice?
It's very lucky to get married in the summer solstice. I got married June 16, which was near enough, and that's going, touch wood, very well so far.
All good. It's all good.
All good so far. But it's also a very auspicious time for conception.
Right.
So if there is anyone out there struggling, now is the time to go ahead and try some fertility magic. You're allowed to talk about it in the BBC.
Oh gosh, yeah. Do you know what this week we've been doing this week, which is things we don't normally talk about, but should we've talked about all sorts of stuff. You name it. We said rude words and the lot.
Oh, really?
Not boasting about it, but it was all in context of, talking about taboo subjects. So yeah, no.
So fertility magic is right there.
Get it on. Honestly, if you
That's
can
it.
get it on this weekend, come on. If
So-
you're trying, that is, and it's lucky.
I've always struggled to have a lot of empathy with people that have struggled to conceive themselves. And 3 of my 4 children were born March 15th, March 18th, and another March 18th, 9 months after the summer solstice. So my family is living proof that fertility magic works for some. Maybe not for everyone.
Not for everyone,
Maybe
but-
not for
but for
everyone.
some.
But for some. And the wonderful thing about witchcraft, and I know it really sounds like Satan is speaking from my throat, but the wonderful thing about witchcraft is that you can just dip your toe.
Yeah.
You don't have to go full witch. You don't have to go full pagan. You want to adopt some of the positive mindset that witchcraft gives you. You want to be more in nature. Just take the bits that you enjoy.
Because people think about witchcraft, I think about witchcraft, and you just think very dark. And
Dark,
very-
pointy hat,
Yes, exactly,
stirring
yeah,
a cauldron.
yeah.
And stirring a cauldron is very symbolic of what people think women do. The Shakespeare witches, it's all the gossiping and conniving. And it's actually quite patriarchal in a way, isn't it? That they think that we just sort of sit around and say awful things about each other. Whereas actually, when you put lots of girls together, what you get is a wonderful camaraderie.
Yeah, we do. We all get together, have a good chat.
That's
There's
it. And
some-
support each other through awful things.
and gin.
And gin. That's the support. That's
That's
not
the
the
support,
awful
exactly.
things.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but summer solstice is also about change and letting go as well, isn't it?
It's exactly about change and letting go. So even when you relate it to the fertility issues, it's letting go the fertility issues. You say to yourself, right, I must have learned a lesson from difficult things that are taking place, but I've learned it. I don't need those difficulties anymore. I let go of you. Now, as witches, we actually get super excited about the moon. Because during the moon cycles, you do spells as the moon grows for things to grow, increase, improve. You can do it for balance, abundance, for a new relationship to grow, for respect in the workplace, anything at all. And then during the waning moon, as it gets smaller, you'll do it for things to go away. Big hit, weight loss. It's true. And obviously during the full moon, that's when you're just sort of gearing yourself to get rid of stuff. So the moon comes around quite a few times a year. With the sun going around just once per year, you go for the real big issues. So if you've been stuck under the scepter of an old relationship that you feel like you can't shake off, now is the time to wish for this person to really come out of your mind where they've set up camp. Or if you feel like there has been lack of respect at work, now is the time to start laying down plans and saying, this doesn't serve me anymore. Let me work on my CV, send it around and ask some friends if
So
there's
it's-
places for me to go
a
to.
time of change, and also it's a time of lots of new energy around, isn't it? Because
It is.
anything is possible. If you're listening to this today, and I'm an open book, me. I wear my heart on my sleeve. But I genuinely think that anything is possible.
I agree.
The amount of people like yourself that's walked through this studio door, and then people I've met on my journey in life and all sorts of stuff, it's just, I see so much possibility for all of us, but we get stuck in this monotonous routine, don't we?
Yes, and in other people's beliefs that
Yes.
are projected onto us.
Oh, gosh,
my,
yeah.
my own grandmother, I love you, has said once I turned 40, all right, so it's just going to be 2 kids, is it? And I was like, why? My doctor is happy for me to have more. But in her mind, it was always like, no kids after 40, no kids
Yeah,
after 40,
yeah.
no kids after 40, no kids after 40. And she tried to project it onto me. And for a while, I believed it. I had a child at 41 and one at 43. right, go older mums.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about as well, because I've just think, but part of me just thinks, do I want to do the school run in my 50s? I want to be on a beach in St. Lucia in my 50s, to be honest.
It depends. If you pick a school where everyone is a little bit drabbier, then that's
Well,
all
there is
right.
that, yeah. So if people want to find out more about this, they can pop onto your website as well, can't they?
Yes, actually, because my brain is so sort of fogged up with kids and school runs, I was thinking, gosh, if I get asked pertinent questions about the summer. So I was actually genning up, reading articles I had written. So I've got a fabulous article on my own website about the summer solstice, which includes summer solstice fertility spell. My website is just inbaal.com.
So inbaal.com, which is INBAAL.
That's right. And I'm also very newly on Instagram. So, yay!
Welcome
I've
to the
done
pool
it.
of positivity. Do you know what, actually? I talked about this on the show this week, actually, and the fact that I see social media networks a bit like TV channels. I'm not comparing them to TV channels, but, you know, if I'm on like Twitter, I'm just going over to the other side. I'm just going to go over to Facebook for a bit. And then, I don't like it in there. So I'll go over to Instagram. And Instagram's a nice pool. There's a lot of positivity on there, isn't there?
I'm so surprised. I had been avoiding social media since its inception. I didn't like a lot of the elements, how invasive it is, how it knows everything that's ever touched your phone, and so on and so forth. And so I dipped my toe on recommendation of friends and colleagues first in Instagram. And I was like, goodness me. And I felt like it was
it is
the
lovely,
sun
isn't it?
shone out of it, very solstice metaphor, and everyone was so excited about like pretty selfies. And I was like, do you know, maybe I should post an ugly selfie and see how that goes down, because you think thoughts, right? So I posted my very final brelfie, my very final breastfeeding selfie with my youngest baby, where I really look, without being too humble, rank. And that got so much love. And I thought, it's just like, you know, when there's a boyfriend and you think, that's too good to be true. Let's see what he's like if I go full mental. And and he sticks around. That's how it was. I thought, Insta, you've really surprised me there.
Do you know what? I think people like, it's all well and good putting filters on things, but I think people like that true authenticity. And I think that's what people look for today.
Yeah.
I think if everything's shiny, polished, it's nice to look at things that are perfect, but actually people want some real grit.
It's really the word of 2019, isn't it? Authenticity. All of a sudden being real works.
Exactly. Inbaal, it's been fantastic to see you. Pop to our website as well. It's inbaal.com if you want to find out more about today, which is the 21st of June, Summer Solstice 2019. Have a gorgeous weekend. It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you so much, and you.